first, a very special event, maybe because it's held 9,000 feet above ground. It's the International Invitational Skydiving Championship. And here now is Bill McAtee.
The views are crystal clear in Laguna Niguel, California for the International Invitational Skydiving Championship. It's a beautiful day in Southern California. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill McAtee, and what you're going to see today is unique, even in the sport of skydiving. First of all, the teams. The Republic of China is here, and its members are Pang Ming Ji, Chao Ho Jian, Wang Ming Ji, and Gao Ming Chung. And they are doing a dirt dive. Dirt diving is sort of a dress rehearsal for what they're going to do in the air. Also here is an all-women's team, the team of Quest, and they're competing for the first time in this type of international competition. Also here, the Navy, the Golden Knights from the Army, and some of the best amateur skydiving teams in the country. Now, what makes this event unique is that what normally would be 3 separate events will be combined into one jump. They'll do the sequential maneuvering, what you normally see, then something called stacking. That comes after the chutes are open. And finally, there is accuracy. From 9,000 feet right up there, the jumpers will be trying to hit this, the bullseye. And it'll be a little different for the skydivers. They're jumping today from a helicopter instead of an airplane, which creates a dead space of air for the first part of the jump. And the first team you'll be seeing is the all-women's team. Quest, eyes closed now, going through the visualization process. This is the first of 3 different rounds, and we want to help you at home understand what you'll be seeing today. We're with Mike Parnell, who's serving as meet director. He is also a member of the world champion team. Now, Mike, why don't you tell us what we're going to be seeing in these championships with these sequential diagrams?
Okay, Bill, these dives were chosen before the meet, and each one consists of a task that the teams have to perform in 35 seconds. This first one is a monopod, and the second one is a monopod. But in between these 2 formations, this group has to turn a 360, and this man redock. Continually, they do a complete break into what we call a snowflake. They break from that into the box formation and then into a Murphy flake. If they get through all that before the 35 seconds is up, they go back to the beginning and start the task again.
What happens if they fall out of order? Where do they go? Do they try to regroup and go back a step or forward a step?
That's really confusing in free fall because you have no verbal commands, but you have to go back to the last completed formation.
Okay.
That's Bob Finn, who positions the helicopter. And the way the judges will view the formations we just showed you is through that instrument to the left. That is the Dream Machine. It's a high-powered video camera that records the jump on tape, and later the international panel of judges will view the tape. So now we're ready to watch the ladies go out the door at 9,000 feet. And the first formation, the monopod, that's complete. Now, one of the jumpers will break off. They'll do a 360, and there's another monopod. And now we're going to see the snowflake, almost a straight line there. And one of the most difficult formations, the box formation. They're having a little trouble with that one. And what happened was one jumper went over the other. Now they're having to fight to get back together. But they've completed the box, and now the Murphy flake is complete. And they'll go back to the monopod. Start the sequence all over again and try to rack up some extra points before they have to separate and open the chutes. Those chutes open now at about 2,000 feet. And this is the fun part, the ride for skydivers. They glide down beneath those beautiful canopies. I want to make note here that Quest has decided not to try and stack. They're going to go now for individual accuracy. And one problem for Quest, the women are light, and with high-performance canopies, they get caught in the thermals almost like a glider, and that makes the job of hitting the target a little tougher.
Hi. How'd it go up there? It looked like the wind was giving you a little bit of problems.
The wind on exit, you mean?
Yeah,
or
with the stagnant air under the helicopter.
Well, it's something that we're not used to. Usually when we go out of the DC-3, we immediately have airflow. And coming off the helicopter, there's a point of almost dead airspace. So when you leave the helicopter, it's like sinking, it's like falling. Where usually when we exit an airplane, there's no sensation of falling.
All right, up above, the favorites, the team from the U.S. Army, the Golden Knights. And this is a team that is known for its precision. Forming first the monopod. Now, a quick note about the judging. All 4 jumpers have to come together, lock in formation, and that is worth a point. These guys fly so close together that sometimes they wave their arms to show the judges true separation. They have 35 seconds to go through the sequence, get as many points as they can, and now they're already going through the sequence for the second time. There's the second monopod, the 360 maneuver. And now the snowflake. That's the straight line. Boy, are they quick. They're going to the box formation. This is the formation that gave Quest a hard time. The Golden Knights make it look easy. They complete the Murphy flake, and this is incredible. They're going to the sequence a third time. They get one in, and now the separation, and the chutes will open for the gentleman from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. As a safety measure, all of these skydivers wear an audible altimeter. It emits a tone when it's time to open the chute at 2,000 feet. What you're watching now is the stacking procedure. The jumper above maneuvers himself to the canopy below and then slides down the line and takes control and then separates right before they hit the ground. Golden Knights have a little bit of an advantage. This is their job 5 days a week. And as you watch them approach the target, you see the first group a little bit short. And here comes the second group. And that is Staff Sergeant Rusty Vest, and he's on target. And gets an appreciative cheer from the crowd here in Laguna Niguel, California. So as we expected, our early leaders, the team from the U.S. Army, the Golden Knights, with 9 points.
Hey, Navy, did you see that?
We'll be back right after this.
Did I hear you're flying first class?
Oh, it's AirCal's almost first-class service. It's really great. They give you first-class legroom, delicious snacks, even champagne and wine.
So, you're flying almost first class at company expense?
But it costs exactly the same as coach on PSA or United.
Henry,
At the same price?
I'll be taking that business trip.
Why have it tough? AirCal's almost first-class service. We make flying easy.
I thought that because I...
Is the wallpaper guaranteed?
It's guaranteed.
Is the paint guaranteed?
It's guaranteed.
Is the paint guaranteed to go with the wallpaper?
Guaranteed.
Now, what about the carpet?
It's guaranteed.
To go with the wallpaper?
Guaranteed.
And the paint?
Guaranteed.
Now, about the mini blinds?
They're guaranteed.
To go with the wallpaper, the paint, and the carpet?
Guaranteed.
Oh.
At Standard Brands, we not only guarantee our products, we also guarantee that you'll like the results.
Can I get this guarantee anywhere else?
No guarantee.
Standard Brands. When it comes to guarantees, we set the standard.
Two-time Indy champion, Rick Mears.
I can eyeball the design of a race car and pretty much tell you how it's going to perform. And when the outside lives up to the engine that's inside, I know it's a go. It's the same with this new Pennzoil plastic bottle. Right away I can see it's easier to maneuver, it won't roll around in your trunk, and it's a lot easier to pour. The design of the outside lives up to what's inside. And when the oil is Pennzoil, that's saying something.
Pennzoil, the choice.
Bill McAtee back at the International Invitational Skydiving Championship. We have completed round 1, and that's where we stand. The U.S. Army leads it with 9 points, followed closely by Navy and Team USA.
Now in round 2, we have a whole new set of formations, right? Right. This is has a little bit better flow to it. It starts out with what we call a diamond here, a complete break into a spinner where 2 people are facing away from the core. Then this comes to a Canadian T, then to what we call a bipole flake, where 2 people are facing out again, then to a donut formation.
That's the jump helicopter getting into position high above beautiful Laguna Niguel. Team USA is next. They're the group from Golden, Colorado, representing the United States, and they recently won the World Skydiving Championship in South Africa. You might notice they're locked in the first formation coming out, and they had a little trouble with the stagnant air we mentioned earlier right beneath the helicopter. But they're back in sequence, and you know, since ancient times, man has tried to fly. This is essentially what you're seeing them do now. They're using the surface of their body, their arms and their legs to maneuver into position. Besides, flying wasn't the hard part, it was the landing. But man's ingenuity has taken care of that with the parachute, so man can now fly without artificial means and doesn't have to worry about the consequences. Saw the Canadian T there, and now they'll move into the bipole flake. And what you're seeing, the view is provided by our free fall photographers. They go out with the jumpers and fly right above them. And Team USA has racked up a lot of points. There, that's a good view of the separation. The jumper throws the arms back, the head down, flies to an open area of the sky away from the other jumpers to deploy his chute. A strong performance by Team USA. They were in third place after the first round. They may move up here. Now's the chance to rack up a few more points. They go into the stacking phase. That's Scott Meek and Craig Franck. Craig is on the top, and he's working his way down the line. They'll try to hook up, completing the stack, and now they've formed a biplane. The man on top, Craig Franck, is doing all the work. The guy on the bottom, Scott Meek, is just along for the ride. There's a lot of conversation going on up there. The man on the bottom is sort of like a co-pilot, providing the man on the top who's doing the driving some information. That's the other team, Kent Lane and Mike Sharon. They've hooked up. Separation now. The winds have picked up, so hitting that target is a little bit tougher as we watch everybody come down safely. Earlier we mentioned judging using the videotape from the Dream Machine. Let's see how it's done.
Okay, what we're looking for is to make sure that all the grips that they're supposed to get is in the right place, that they hold it long enough to establish control and precision, and that they separate totally when they're supposed to.
All right, Sherry, describe to me what you see now. This is the Navy team in the first round.
Okay, they're hanging outside the helicopter right now, getting ready for their exit. And they're waiting for the final. There they go. Now, they picked up some of the grips for the unipod. Now they picked up all of them. Now they're doing the 360, coming around for the unipod again. Back to the snowflake. And now they're doing the transition to get ready to make the formation called the box. Showing the separation all the time. Back to a monopod. Separation. Now to the unipod. The 360 turn. Unipod again. The snowflake, that's the 8th point. This is the Navy team on round 1. The 9th point will be the box, and it's out of time.
Up in the jump helicopter now, the leaders after round 1, the Golden Knights from the U.S. Army, and they already know about that 9-point performance of Team USA. Formation tilted up a little bit out of the helicopter. That usually means they didn't all get away together. But they're back in sequence now. That's the spinner move. And there's the Canadian T. And there, what you just saw, that's three-dimensional flying. It is a new technique where the jumper goes over the formation. It is risky because the judges can't always see the break, but it's an efficient use of time. And we've got only 35 seconds to complete those maneuvers and rack up the points. Time is a critical factor. They're in the sequence for the second time. Another three-dimensional move going from the Canadian T to the bipole flake, and they hit the donut. And there you see Jeremy Mahoney. He's one of the free fall photographers, one of the gentlemen providing the magnificent pictures we're seeing today. The Golden Knights, easily the most experienced team in the competition, averaging more than 3,500 jumps per man. And what they're thinking about now, with the competition so close, is the stacking phase. They get a point for completing the biplane stack, then maneuvering almost like an airplane, down at the target, downwind, and additional points for accuracy. And remember, those winds are swirling, so it makes it tough to hit the target. But Andy Gerber, the team captain, has picked up an extra point. He's hit the bullseye. And now comes the second group. They release, turning on final approach to the target. Man with the best chance to pick up a point is Mark Gabriel, and yep, there's the signal from the official. He's got the bullseye. So the Golden Knights pick up 2 points for accuracy. There's Ken Crabtree, second of our free fall photographers. Had a chance to go up with Ken in the helicopter in round 1.
Now, Kenny, how much extra weight do you carry with all that equipment?
We've got about 18 pounds on our head and about 20 pounds on our stomach.
How does that affect your maneuverability out there?
It slows it down a little bit, but we can slide around where we need to be. We're kind of like flying tripods, so as long as we can maintain a steady position, that's all we need.
I notice your suit has a lot of extra material. How does that aid you in staying even with the jumpers?
We can grab a little more air so we can float a little easier. We're like riding a big beach ball on our stomachs of air, so we can fly and float around the jumper.
Coming up, we'll get a chance to see the team from the Republic of China, the Divine Dragons, loading into the helicopter. The team there chasing the Golden Knights from the U.S. Army, coming off another good performance in round 2.
Out of the gold, into the black. Once you're there, never come back.
We'll be back right after this. Bill McAtee back now at the International Invitational Skydiving Championship. We're a mile and a half from the Pacific Ocean here in Southern California. Eyes trained upward. Everyone here, including man's best friend, trying to get a good view. Set now for the Navy team, and if you want to make some comparisons, the Golden Knights of the Army have been training and competing together for 4 years. For the Navy, it's their first year as a team. And it's tougher for them to train because they spend so much time aboard ship out at sea. Joe Lacaze, Harry O'Connor, Mike Carroll, Gary Sanders getting set for the final jump of round 2. Now the Navy needs a 9 to tie Army for first place. Good exit in the diamond formation. From there they go to the spinner. That's 2 points. Now the Canadian T. They have to lock to get the point. The bipole flake. We're seeing these points accumulate in the air, but as we showed you earlier, the final judging is done a bit later on the ground with videotape. Navy's pace a little bit more deliberate, and there you saw a mistake. They're flying so close together, their legs bumped. That forced them apart, and that is where experience and training together becomes a real factor. The jumpers facing away from each other, they have to rely on feel and timing to know when to start maneuvering. The relative work is the tough part. The ride down and the stacking, that's the real enjoyable part of the jump. These are high-performance canopies. They are almost like an airfoil with a forward speed of 30 miles an hour. The cells in the canopy fill with air. It takes the shape of an airplane wing. On the top there is Joe Lacaze, the Navy captain. He's working his way down to complete the biplane stack. Here's Mike Carroll and Harry O'Connor. They have also stacked successfully. Separation. No bullseye, but they picked up the point for stacking. And in comes Lacaze and Gary Sanders. Sanders has a chance for a bullseye, but he comes up just short. So that wraps up round 2, and Navy with an 8-point performance has moved into a tie with Team USA for second place. Now the final round, which will probably ultimately decide the championship. What do we have?
Starts out here with the Murphy flake, then to a bipole flake, to a donut, a spinner, an offset accordion, and a diamond. And the way that the dive has been sequenced, it's difficult to get a good rhythm going. Consequently, rock'em sock'em relative work could hurt you rather than help you.
Now, do you try to put the most difficult dives for round 3?
The competitors really prefer not to. It's a luck of the draw, and round number 3 is it. So you're going to see some of the go-for-it teams look really good or really bad.
All right, and up in the jump helicopter now, the team from the Republic of China, 7th after 2 rounds, ready for their jump in round 3. The exit's good, and the first formation, the Murphy flake, looks good. Now there seems to be some confusion. It looks like they're going back and trying to reorganize into the Murphy's flake. Apparently they didn't think that the formation satisfied the judges. Remember, the Chinese are new to this sport. They're involved in a government training program that brings teams from around the world to Taiwan to show the Chinese advanced free fall formations. There's the donut. From there they'll go to the spinner. And one of the canopies opened up prematurely. Apparently, in getting to the formation, one of the canopies was accidentally deployed. So not many points on relative work, but the Chinese are known to be quite good at stacking and accuracy. So let's see how they do. That's Pan Ming Ji and Chao Ho Jian. They've adopted American nicknames, MG and Taxi. And there's Egg and Aristotle. And here's a good view of the landing. You can see how they maneuver to the ground. Separation, a little tug on the steering line, stalls a moment, then brakes and glides softly to the ground. And there's an accuracy point. You know, the Chinese have really had a good time here. They're all outgoing. They've talked to an interpreter to the other jumpers about technique and just enjoyed being here in the competition. The Chinese well out of the running, but this is their best showing in international competition. As you watch Taxi walk off, their good day's work. Chinese finished with a total of 9 points.
Let's go to our studio in New York.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dorothy Lucy, and we will be back with the final round of the International Skydiving Championship. But first...
That's Joe Lacaze of Navy playing his nose. Navy is done for the day. They had a disappointing third jump, only 2 points, and that has opened the door a bit for another team from the United States, team from Paris Valley, California, called Infinity. They'll need a good performance, but it looks like they've broken apart early. This team has been together only a short time, but they've had a video cameraman follow them on most of their jumps to try to accelerate their training. They're in the donut. You can see their moves are a little more pragmatic. The spinner. Infinity's transitions not quite as smooth as some we've seen today. And you notice an altitude difference between the jumpers. That can be dangerous from a competition standpoint because one jumper knocking into another can destroy the whole formation. Tracking off now. Infinity had a chance to move up because of Navy's poor third jump, but it doesn't look like they've been able to take advantage of it. You know, Infinity might be indicative of teams across the country. They practice and train, but it's tough to reach the level of teams like the Golden Knights and Navy and even Team USA, whose members spend 6 months a year training. For Infinity, jumping is still pretty much a recreational sport. They're not going to try stacking, but they'll be going for points on accuracy. And this is Steve Eichle going for the bullseye. He's got it. So not a wasted effort for Steve Eichle. And coming in next, that's our photographer, Ken Crabtree. I doubt that's how he wants to be seen on national television, but he's trying to protect his equipment. And the rest of Infinity coming down, that's Bob Walzer. Mo Valletto, he packs parachutes for a living. And finally, Bill O'Keefe. They're the Golden Knights, the leaders through the first 2 rounds, and they need another good jump. It'll take a jump of 9 points to win. The thumbs-up signal from Carl Cortez, our helicopter pilot, and the Golden Knights are away. And you notice they also had trouble with the dead air beneath the helicopter. So they reset the first formation, the Murphy flake, and you see an important difference here. The Army team keeps its composure and reset quickly. Now they're into the sequence. Quick, crisp moves. The spinner move is complete. Now they'll go into the offset accordion. Now they'll do a beautiful maneuver. Turn in pairs, 360 degrees, overlap each other. A tough formation, but the Army now is demonstrating textbook execution. They need 9 points to win, and they're into the second sequence. Hooking up for the donut. Now the spinner. Separation at 2,000 feet. Good job of relative work. It looks like the Army has put together another outstanding jump. The judges total the points. That should be good enough to win it. And how'd you like to be taking this ride? Pulling down on the riser, spiraling down to hook up with your stacking partner. That's Scott Rhodes above Army team captain Andy Gerber, trying to maneuver into position to start the stacking. Rhodes reaches back to grab Gerber's canopy. Pretty gutsy move 1,000 feet above the ground. He's gonna hit the rusty vest, trying to negotiate those swirling winds that make hitting that target a little bit tough. And finally, Gerber and Rhodes for the last stack of the day. Separation, and everybody's going to get down safely. So here are the results. Also, the all-women's team, Quest, finished 6th. The team from the Republic of China was 7th. So the Golden Knights from the U.S. Army win in what turned out to be a very close competition. You know, this is just about sport in its purest form. The people you've seen today participate simply because they enjoy it. And we all enjoyed a beautiful day of skydiving at the International Invitational Skydiving Championship. I'm Bill McAtee. Goodbye from Laguna Niguel, California.